Yo, you people out there in YouTube land. Yes, I'm talking about you then. You. So, we are back along the Singapore River. Exploring the Singapore River, seeing what we can find here, crossing some bridges. So if you're interested in that, some history about Singapore, join me. I'll be coming out of the tunnel and exploring the area here. Let's do it. Yeah. And so, in our last video, we have walked past Quay, walking along the Singapore River, heading towards our next bridge. Yes. In the past, when we're walking through this area here, the area across the river and the area on my right after the bridge used to be fenced up. That was because they were building the Fort Canning MRT station. But now the station has been completed and they've removed all the fencing and they have landscaped the area by putting grass on it. But we're here now to see this bridge called the Ord Bridge, which is a pedestrian bridge which crosses the Singapore River at Quay. And this bridge was built in 1886 to replace a demolished footbridge known as the ABC Bridge. This bridge is a steel truss bridge and was named after Colonel Sir Henry St. George Ord, which was the first British governor of the Strait Settlement. And this new bridge was also an abbreviation of the name Ordnance Bridge, because the British Ordnance Depot along Magazine Street used to be across the street, and that's why they shortened it to also call it the Ord Bridge. And also another name for this bridge was also called the Toddy Bridge. That was because there were toddy shops nearby in this area right up till maybe the 1970s. And toddy is an alcoholic coconut liquor. So this is the Ord Bridge. And now we're going to continue walking along down that direction toward the next bridge. So the last time we visited the Singapore River, when we were walking past this area here, there were actually fences on my right here and on my left. And so what they did was they actually completed building the MRT station, and now they left it like that. So now it's a very nice open area for you to have maybe enjoy the grass, have a picnic on. And further upriver is this bridge called the Clemenceau Bridge. This bridge is actually named after George Benjamin Clemenceau, the French Prime Minister who visited Singapore in 1920. And this particular bridge you see now was only built in 1991 and is actually a replacement bridge to replace the first Clemenceau Bridge, which stood in this area here for more than 50 years, and then it was demolished. It was demolished to make way for the CTE, which is the Central Expressway Chin Swee Tunnel. And so they demolished the old bridge so that they can expand the tunnel, expand the expressway. And now this new bridge here is a 8-lane highway, and from underneath the bridge you can see this bridge has been designed for that purpose, to have to be an 8-lane highway. And one thing you'll notice about this bridge is that this bridge is constructed entirely using reinforced concrete, and this is because one of the problems of bridges in tropical countries is corrosion. So concrete has improved resistance to corrosion and helps with this problem of corrosion in bridges, especially if you make it out of wood or metal, and they are very prone to wear and tear and rust. And if you start looking around this area here, you will notice that you have actually moved away from the commercial area of Singapore and to a more residential area, a more expensive, high-class residential area. And the area we're at now is called Roberson Quay. So Roberson Quay used to be a wharf area near the source of the Singapore River. And in the past, before the wharves were built, before the warehouses was built, this area here, the upper reaches of the Singapore River, used to be mudflats, swamps, tidal swamps. And as the population and commerce of Singapore increased, this area was started to be reclaimed, and it was started to be reclaimed maybe around the mid-20th century. And so the swamps were reclaimed and they started to build warehouses and boatyards in the 1880s, both in the European and Chinese style. And as you can see in all the buildings around here, some of the shop houses, some of the old warehouses are still preserved in this area here. And over here in Roberson Quay is this bridge called the Alcove Bridge. So this area here now, a lot of residential, a lot of condominiums, high-end residences are here in this area, and also eateries, al fresco dining. So people come here to do that. It's also a very popular place for joggers and families to walk around. This bridge you see here now is actually a pedestrian bridge called the Alcove Bridge, which is a steel trusted bridge 55 meters in length crossing the Singapore River. It's shaped like a tongkang, which is a light boat used to, in the early days, to carry goods and people across and along the river. And so this place is actually situated near the former Alcove Quay. The Alcove Quay was named after a prominent Arabian family called the Alcoves, who were the wealthiest in Singapore during the early 20th century. And this bridge was built in 1997. So this bridge and the next few bridges upriver were actually built to improve pedestrian connectivity between the two banks of the river. We have actually rounded the bend, one of the bends along the Singapore River, and across the river you can see the HDB flats of Jalan Kukoh. And of course we're coming up to another bridge. This bridge is called the Pulau Saigon Bridge. So the Malay word for Pulau means island. Saigon is of course from Vietnam. So this is the Saigon Island Bridge. And in the past, there used to be an island called Pulau Saigon along the Singapore River. But due to land reclamation, the island has been reclaimed and the bridge of course was demolished, and this vehicular bridge was built in this place. So the island, or the reclaimed island, is somewhere inside there along the road. And so this is the Pulau Saigon Bridge. And so this is the Pulau Saigon Bridge. And when you walk underneath it, you can see this is a very different style of bridge as compared to the Clemenceau Bridge. Here the concrete slabs are placed much closer to each other. And after the Saigon Bridge, you can see more examples of the old warehouses that used to be along this river. One is here and one is across the river from here. Along here you can actually see the old style of warehouses that used to be everywhere around this area, and now it's actually a very nice area for people to walk along, jog, and of course come here for a meal, because there's lots of small little restaurants and eateries and bistros along the riverside. They can come and have a meal. And some of these warehouses has been converted to such restaurants. A very nice place. It is a very nice place to come for a walk. Or if you have a dog, you can actually walk your dog along the area here. So this area here, lots of condominiums, private residences, hotels and eateries. And one of the bridges that connects this side of the road to the other side of the road, which is Havelock Road, is this bridge called the Roberson Bridge. So this is a pedestrian bridge, an arch pedestrian bridge, which was built in 1998. And so from one side of the river, it helps for pedestrians from one side of the river to get onto the other side. And we're going to continue further down in that direction, following the Singapore River again. And slightly ahead, upstream from the bridge, is this small little park area. And you can continue walking along here, walking besides huge condominiums. Like I said, this area here, the people staying here, not your normal local Singaporeans. Mostly a lot of expatriates like to stay in this area here because it's very close to the city, convenient, and a lot of eateries and restaurants that suit their an expat lifestyle. And across the river from me now is the old warehouses where Zouk used to be. Zouk is actually a very popular or is still a very popular Singaporean disco area. Discotheque. A lot of people used to go to disco at this area here, at these three old warehouses that are now being renovated, and beside it they're actually building another condominium. So Zouk has now moved to Quay from this original location where they've been here for many years, probably around maybe 30 years. And finally they moved to a new area, to Quay. And we continue walking down along the Singapore River to our next bridge, which is the Jiak Kim Bridge. So this is the Jiak Kim Bridge, one of the newer additions to the bridges along the Singapore River. It was only built in 1999 and named after Tan Jiak Kim, who is the grandson of Tan Kim Seng. Tan Kim Seng is one of the old Tauges, or one of the old Chinese businessmen in Singapore in the past, where he used to give a lot of money to donate to society. So because of that, his name is well known in Singapore history. And so this pedestrian bridge used to be right next to Zouk, a popular place for young clubbers to come and drink and have and dance. And of course, the hotels. And now we are along Kim Seng Park and heading towards Kim Seng Bridge, which is up ahead. And so this is the Kim Seng Bridge. The first Kim Seng Bridge was actually built in 1862 by the Chinese merchant and philanthropist Tan Kim Seng. The bridge is the most westerly bridge along the Singapore River, and Tan Kim Seng was actually a prominent figure in the Chinese community back in the 1800s, and he had many properties in this area here. And even now, you can actually see his tomb, which is near Tiong Bahru. But we have walked past the bridge, and now we are at Great World City. Great World City is this complex here where you have offices, you have retail, you also have residential at the end. So this is a whole place here, and this place, Great World City, actually is named after the old Great World Amusement Park that used to stand in this area here. And so now that amusement park was demolished, and they built this facility here, this area here. And right in front of us now is theoretically the source of the Singapore River between Zion Road, which is in front here, and Kim Seng Bridge, which is behind us. And this area here, supposedly the source of the Singapore River, theoretically. But up ahead is actually the Alexandra Canal. So Alexandra Canal is one of those rivers that actually feeds into the Singapore River. And one interesting feature about this place is across the bridge is the Zion Road Food Center, which is a popular food center in this area here. And unfortunately, we'll stop our adventure here at this point and continue our journey along the Alexandra Canal further up. So join me for that adventure, and you'll see, we'll talk, we will experience more of the history of Singapore. And before you go, do me a favor, like, share and subscribe, support me on Patreon if it's possible, and lastly, but the most important thing, don't forget to join me for my next adventure. I will see you around. Bye bye.